Okay, this is Jody Hoffman. I'm the treasurer of the United States Pony Club, and the purpose of this webinar is to introduce the idea of a peer financial audit. The presentation was first made to treasurers, regional supervisors, and district commissioners at the 2011 annual meeting, and hopefully other club officers and sponsors will find the information useful. All right, the first question is, what is a peer review? A peer review is a process of self-regulation or a process of evaluation. It's similar to an outside audit of a company, financials by an accounting firm. It is reviewed by interested people of the books, and in our case, of a club or a region. Peer review methods are employed to maintain standards, improve performance, and provide credibility. A peer review is a best practice for a not-for-profit organization. With all reviews and audits, it is required that you go back to the original documents, and in all cases that means the bank records. Why have a peer review? It's a second set of eyes on the health and the books of an organization. Keeps everything transparent and protects club and regional officers. Keeps the focus on the Pony Club mission statement, which is education, by indicating sources and uses of funds. And it keeps the 501c3 or not-for-profit status viable, which we should protect at all costs. It avoids unnecessary conflict, as it is clear that funds are collected and used appropriately. And it can benefit clubs and regions by creating more involvement from the parents and sponsors. Who should appoint the audit committee? The RS and Regional Council, or the DC and the club sponsors, select a committee of 2 or 3 people that otherwise have no current elected status. Former regional or club treasurers are ideal candidates, of course. Others would be sponsors or parents of members with financial or accounting or legal background. Another source might be in your state, if your CPA organization has a pro bono group that goes out and does these kinds of things. But I want to stress that no particular background is required. Interest in the ability to balance a checkbook should be enough. I should note that the model we are following is pretty similar to what 4-H does. And in the 4-H organization, high school kids do the peer audits. So again, I want to stress that no particular background is required. When to have a peer audit? It should be done whenever there's a change of the guard, when a new DC or RS is elected and or a new treasurer is appointed. It should also be done at least every 2 years for smaller clubs and probably every year for larger clubs. Time involved, and this is something you'll want to tell your audit committee so that you don't scare them. A small club peer review can be completed in an afternoon after all the documents are gathered, and it's that gathering that might take a little time. Hopefully your club or your region has kept good records, and that will make the gathering of the documents much simpler. A large club review will of course take longer than an afternoon. A peer review should the recommendation is that peer review be completed by February the 10th of each year for the immediate prior period, accounting period, which is a fiscal year which ends December 31st. The reason by February 10th is so that you can include it with your report to the United States Pony Club in the packet that goes in by February 15th. Records to be provided by the region or the club for the peer review committee include the following things. Bank statements, you need at least 12 months of those bank statements, and I've been asked how many years, how many accounting periods should you cover. My recommendation is that you do just 1 year, unless that you find that there are questions or anomalies in what you're looking at, in which case you should go back another couple of years. But it is truly designed to just be an audit of 1 year. You need detailed records of bank deposits. You need detailed access to records of the region of the club, which show the source and purpose of each deposit, especially donations. You'll also need a draft copy of the current year cash receipts and disbursement report, or access to the club online accounting program with auditor rights only. You'll also need copies of all requests of funds, reimbursement and bills, canceled checks. Online access is acceptable. Most banks today actually have a vision of the check, which is available front and back, and you can access that from their system. And you need all voided checks and all outstanding checks. Petty cash information, source and use and balance, and I'd like to say a word or two about petty cash. It's really recommended that you not have a petty cash account. It's very difficult to track petty cash appropriately, and it would be better to have someone write a personal check or spend personal money, and then the club repay them with upon presentation of a receipt and a request form. You need to see all credit and debit records, sources and uses, review and verify all IRS and state filings and make sure that they have been made, evidence of compliance with insurance regulations. As you know, we have insurance every time we have a clinic or a club meeting, and you need to see that those instances have all been accounted for and paid for correctly. You need support for any electronic payments, a copy of current and prior year budgets, and a list of all club assets and inventory. What if the requested items are not readily available? Well, the items listed on the previous pages are what would be available to the audit team in a perfect world. Not every club will have everything, but all clubs and all regions can improve, and one of the reasons to do a peer audit is to make recommendations for improvement. If the club or region's records do not have all items, a note on the report form should recommend an improvement in financial record keeping. For example, a list of club-owned equipment might indicate that some equipment may be no longer in existence or broken. The point is to keep good records and to track assets, including financial assets. What if problems arise or are uncovered during the audit? Rule number 1, talk to the RS and or the Vice President of Regional Administration as appropriate for guidance. Rule number 2, avoid unnecessary conflicts and seek guidance. See rule number 1. What are the steps to an audit? The first step is to check reconciled bank statements and canceled checks and make sure all postings are current and correct. Verify all outstanding checks, and on the outstanding checks you should verify check number, who the payee is, and the amount. Examine all voided checks. If voided checks are not on file, verify that that check has not cleared the bank. Number 4, total all funds received. Verify that cash receipts are written, if appropriate, and that funds received were listed in reports. Total all deposits made to the bank account. This total should equal the total of all funds received. unless the treasurer's ledger shows that some of the funds were retained as for petty cash. Total all expenditures. Verify that all expenditures were paid by check and not in cash. Number 7, examine the club or region's annual financial report. Verify that the amounts listed agree with the amounts in the treasurer ledger reports, the total in the check register and in the bank statements. Verify treasurer's total balance at the beginning of the year, bank balance plus petty cash, plus all funds received minus all expenses must equal the treasurer's total balance at the end of the year, bank balance plus petty cash. Examine the club's inventory sheet and make sure that all the property and equipment is properly accounted for and documented. And that documentation should include the location of the property or equipment. For example, for our region, I have a big garage, so I store one of the dressage arenas, and our region notes that that's where the dressage arena is located. A letter or receipt should be on file for each gift received, documenting the donor, date, value, and any restrictions placed upon the donation by the donor. Check all debit card and credit card records and confirm that the amounts are included in the club's or region's financial reports. This sheet shows an example of a report format. This form can be found on the Pony Club Treasurer's website, and there's a hyperlink here that you can click to go through to that form. Important dates. January 31st, clubs and regions must send IRS Form 1099s to individuals who make more than $600 a year from the club. February 15th, an annual summary of cash receipts and disbursements is due to the national office and the region. And a copy of the audit report form should be sent along with that report. February the 28th, IRS Form 1098s are due to the IRS, and those are a summary of all 1099s that were sent out. May 15th, the 990 is due for the prior year. Copies need to be sent to the IRS, the national office, and the region, and a copy must be kept in the club's papers. Most clubs will be able to do the short form, which is a 990 NE postcard. Also note that applicable state filings need to be made. November 15th, the annual budget is sent to the United States Pony Club and also to the region as part of the annual packet, and provide this data to the DC and to club sponsors. Who sees the report? The DC and the RS and the national office. Club sponsors if the audit is done at a club level, and if at the region, the regional council. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions or comments about this presentation, you can address them to me, Jody Hoffman, at jhoffman66@carolina.rr.com, or to the office at the Pony Club headquarters, and both those hyperlinks are included here.